Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and Mastercard is going to force their employees to be vaccinated if they want to get back to work. Talk about a new normal. I know, I hate that term too. This is an incremental frog boil, guys. We're going to go into this and more in this video, but make sure first to hit the like button below, share this on social media because we are shadow banned, and more importantly, get off YouTube if you're watching it on there. Go on BitChute, go on Flote.app, and check those links below. Join our new newsletter at iambanned.com. We need to get off of this platform. We were demonetized for not towing the line of the World Health Organization, but we do not negotiate with terrorists, and terrorists are those who spread ideology with fear. Anyway, let's carry on here with the news. As this article out of Reuters says, Mastercard to allow staff to work from home until virus fears subside. Mastercard Inc. will not ask employees to return to its worldwide corporate offices until they are comfortable that the sometimes fatal coronavirus is under control with vaccines or other measures, a senior executive told Reuters on Wednesday. The world's second largest payment processor is also looking at its real estate footprint and considering consolidating offices. Chief People Officer Michael Fraccaro said, and I quote, "We expect in the coming weeks and months that more employees will continue to work from home than come into office," he said, "and we are okay with that. We support that choice. While some Mastercard staff have young children or parents to look after, others are concerned about taking public transport to work." And I quote, "We have stated up front that all of our employees, that it is their choice. We want them to make the decision on when they feel comfortable returning to the office," he said. The company employs nearly 20,000 people globally, with its main headquarters in Westchester, a New York City suburb. Mastercard owns that campus, which it purchased from IBM in 1994. When the situation stabilizes, companies around the world may find that their offices are only about 30% full, Fraccaro said, leading Mastercard to think about its future real estate needs. Mastercard joins other technology and financial firms that have said they do not plan to implement widespread get back to the office initiatives anytime soon, including its main rivals, American Express Co. and Visa Inc. Mastercard has created a future of work task force that is figuring out how best to handle real estate and employee needs, Fraccaro said. About 90% of its workforce is operating remotely, including those based in overseas locations, including Beijing and Shanghai, Fraccaro said. Employees who work in offices must follow social distancing rules, wear masks, and undergo temperature checks, he said. And I quote, "Once there is adequate testing and there is a vaccine and people feel comfortable to return, then we may see more," he said. "But in the early phases, it will be vastly less than what we had." Now, I do want to note the original version of this article that existed about a day ago basically said that if people didn't get a vaccine, they could not go to work. The article was literally saying that people will not return to work at Mastercard until there is a vaccine. And this is something we've heard in a lot of places. It's interesting that they completely changed that article because it got a lot of attention on social media. It was shared everywhere. People were furious. And suddenly they took that part conveniently out of the article and removed the original title. Isn't that cute? This is what they would consider the new normal. And it's very concerning to a lot of people because not everyone wants to be vaccinated. And I'll bring up this poll on the screen here, as it says also out of Reuters, exclusive. A quarter of Americans are hesitant about a coronavirus vaccine, according to Reuters Ipsos poll. And carrying on here, it says, many Americans say that they would refuse a coronavirus vaccine. Well, no kidding. Poll, 1 in 4 Americans say they will not get a coronavirus vaccine. Experts say a vaccine for the coronavirus will likely be available in early or mid-2021. They're pushing it for January, my friends. January is when they want to release the coronavirus vaccine, which has no public testing and also is coming from a guy who stands to make a fortune off of it, Bill Gates. And there's also connections with Johnson & Johnson. We'll get into that in other videos in the future. But the point is, there are a lot of businesses out there that are saying they want to force vaccinate people before they get to work or else they lose their jobs. We've seen this before after the Ebola outbreak. We heard a lot about this same very issue. It doesn't make any sense, for one. You cannot have any... They're saying in some cases, in some studies, that you cannot get the coronavirus again. There's other studies that say, oh, but we don't know that yet. But if you don't know that, and if you can get it again, then literally vaccines make no difference, because then there'd be no point in trying to create an antibody because you wouldn't be able to. And it apparently mutates very fast because It is a bioweapon that's been created in a lab. It has every hallmark of a bioweapon, including the fact that literally Fauci worked with the Institute for Allergies and Infectious Diseases at the Wuhan Institute of Virology with millions of dollars of funds granted by the U.S. government in order to study coronavirus in bats that are 96% consistent with novel coronavirus from the Yan'an caves, and the study went into how to spread it to humans. Now, they went after, older people first. Now they're saying children are getting this strange Japanese kind of disease on their tongue and stuff because of it. They got bunions on their toes. I mean, all the side effects, it's getting so ridiculous. Anyway, the point is, they've been saying that they wanted, in many cases, to force a vaccine. Trump did mention mobilizing the military. There's lots of debate over what he meant by that, but why would you need to mobilize the military if not everyone's going to get the vaccine? He did insinuate that you wouldn't be able to go to sports games, you wouldn't be able to go to concerts, you wouldn't be able to travel without it. And in Canada, they're working with the Chinese army to develop a vaccine. And Theresa Tam, Canada's version of Fauci, said 10 years ago that she supports force vaccinating people, rounding people up who refuse it, and throwing them in jail as well. And with all these polls coming out showing that 1 in 4 Americans say they will not get the coronavirus vaccine, I think the number's actually higher. And think of how many millions of people that is. This is another example of how they will not be able to enforce this. As scary as it all is, I mean, they would have to just start gunning down people and use the stupidest excuses of a second wave affecting children to get people on their knees enough to actually take this vaccine by force. I mean, we're going to see a civil war rise up if they start force vaccinating everyone, which is absolutely tyrannical, by the way, to force vaccinate people, to force medicate people. It's insane. And we've been talking about this for many years. This has been in the books for many years. But I also want to go into something as far as legal or legalities here. And I'm going to pull up this article on the screen from 2015 from bizjournals.com, which mentions there are limitations. The anti-discrimination laws prohibit you from requiring vaccinations of those employees objecting on religious grounds or because of disability. And some state laws even permit employee refusal on philosophical grounds. In these cases, you must reasonably accommodate the employees. Example, allow them to wear a surgical mask unless that accommodation would cause undue hardship or it would pose a direct threat to public safety. In such a case, you can discipline them, including terminating their employment for failing to vaccinate. And I do want to note, I mean, this leaves open a big door for a lot of people to basically say, I am of the religion of the anti-vax. There's a spaghetti monster religion. I mean, you can really get around discrimination laws pretty easily with that kind of stuff. Not that I support, the government, eroding businesses' abilities to do what they want to do or whatever they need to do on the free market. But this is much different. You're talking about the government recommending, and the World Health Organization, headed by a communist from Ethiopia, recommending that people get vaccinated with something that could very much be detrimental to their health. And if they don't take it, they lose their job, they lose their livelihood, especially in a time, by the way, when we're looking at 52% of small businesses do not expect to come back after all of this or reopen after all of this is done. I mean, we're looking at the biggest global depression in history. It's horrible. So this is just more evidence of why we need to be louder and stand up against all this stuff. Because, guys, I mean, if we're talking about forced vaccinations, I'm here in Mexico. In Mexico, in Puerto Vallarta, where I am, I don't know a single person who would take that vaccine. Literally anyone I talk to, they're like, are you crazy? Why would I do that? And I said, well, what if the government points guns at you? And he's like, well, we'll just kill them then. I mean, I'm not advocating anything. It's just what people here will say. They're like, what? Americans allow that kind of stuff? I thought you guys were independent. Or Canadians allow that kind of stuff? I thought you guys were independent. Answer is no. A lot of people praise independence in the United States, but then are far more subservient as far as psychologically to the government than Mexicans are, strangely. In Mexico, there's a big government, but most people don't listen to the government, and that's a difference. But anyway, I can't see this ending well for the government, really. I can't see this ending well for people either anytime soon, but long term, I don't see this working out well for the government. To force vaccinate everyone, people are going to rise up, and it's going to be bloody if they try that. And they know that, and they've been trying for years to convince people. They cannot convince people because there's so many conflicting scientific studies, and the work of Del Bigtree and others like that, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. have really highlighted a lot of the dangers of what we don't know, and these badly tested vaccines that are filled with mercury and, you know, formaldehyde and all that kind of stuff. And you don't have to be anti-vax to be against the government forcing people onto the ground at gunpoint and medicating them with who knows what out of some government lab, possibly in China. Yeah, that always went well. That went really well in India. That went really well in Africa. There's a reason why everyone in Africa and India hates Bill Gates, by the way. Anyway, we'll continue to cover this news as it elapses. It's very strange times we're living in, very technocratic, creepy times. They're going to implement this forced vaccination rule with basically a tracking system on your phone that is based on social credit. It's technocratic, like Chinese social credit, where you cannot go to restaurants, cannot fly, cannot go get a job in certain places, cannot even leave the country if you don't get the vaccine, which is tied to a social credit system, which is probably tied to facial recognition. This is exactly what they've been working on for a long time, and it's exactly the rollout we're witnessing right now. So we need to be very wary of that and reject all forms of force against us as free human beings. But that comes down to individual responsibility. Responsibility is a basis of freedom, my friends. And without you standing up, nothing good will come of it. It doesn't come down to other people standing up for you. You have to stand up for yourself, guys. Anyway, I appreciate everyone watching us. This is another example of why we've been demonetized here on YouTube. We were told that if we don't toe the line of the World Health Organization, we'd be demonetized. And we got demonetized because I stand for the truth. I stand for freedom. And I don't give a damn what they try to force me to say. There's a reason I've turned down such huge paydays, such huge payoffs from mainstream media. I reject that because I want to be able to sleep at night. I don't do this for money. I do this to spread the truth. Though it's important to make a few dollars so I can pay rent while I'm doing it. So if anyone wants to help out, make sure to check those links below, share this on social media, and we'll be back with you guys with much more. It's interesting that Mastercard changed the story right before I did this video. I had to restart my computer and the headline completely changed. And they don't even show it as an update. Like, let's actually look up here to see when it was last updated. I'm going to bring it up on the screen here. It says updated 14 hours ago, so I guess I had the article up for a while, but originally published May 20th, 2020 at 5:05 p.m. But yeah, it was updated 14 hours ago. They completely changed the original headline, which literally said that people at Mastercard will not be able to go back to work without the vaccine. Interesting how that works. But nonetheless, we're on top of it. We are seeing that I think they're moving too fast with the incremental frog boil to some degree. Let's keep our eye on them, guys. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, subscribe star. We really can't do it without you. We've been so insanely shadow banned, about 90% at this point, and 95% demonetized. As Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, comes in and says that she is shutting down quote-unquote controversial content and cutting out the views on this controversial content by 70%. She's been bragging about it. We need your help more than ever in this battle for truth in information. You guys are what keeps us alive, so we really appreciate just even $1 a month makes a huge difference. If everyone could give just $1 a month, we wouldn't even have to worry about competing against the mainstream propaganda networks. You can also donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen for you to scan if you please, as well as in the comments and description. Liking and sharing makes a big difference as well, and finding us on alternative social media platforms like flote.app, that's flote.app, makes a huge difference. We're at Josh Sigurdson as well as at Wham. Flote is replacing Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon all in one with encrypted private messaging, and of course monetization on videos for creators, live streams with super chats in crypto, and most of all, no algorithm, because at the end of the day, it's all about reach, guys. This is all about actually reaching people with the message and waking up the public. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Minds, BitChute, all sorts of different platforms. Try to follow us on as many things as possible, because very soon this channel will very likely just be completely deleted from YouTube, and you'll never see us again, and you'll be stuck with only the mainstream networks. Also, come on out and see us at Anarcho Vegas 2020 in Las Vegas, Nevada in July, where such speakers such as G. Edward Griffin and many others will be speaking. You could use promo code WHAM on your VIP tickets and save 10%, as well as buy extremely cheap tickets for just $20.20. You won't find a cheaper conference than this with such amazing names. Check anarchovegas.com for more information on that. We hope to see you out there. And anyway, I really appreciate all of you guys joining us. You make it possible for us to survive in this volatile, propagandized climate. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.